Right, Dan, what's happening? How are we doing? All good?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Are you as bored as me, or?
God, I think I could be worse. Could be more bored.
To be fair, when all this was kicking off and I spoke to you, you said that you was going to find this hard just sitting indoors.
Yeah, I can't. I find it hard to just sit around. I can't. I need to be out doing stuff. I'm used to being out all the time. So, literally out working, coaching and stuff like that. You're never really indoors. You're always out and about. So, being stuck indoors for like 3 or 4 hours at a time is a killer.
Yeah, no, of course, exactly that. Especially when the weather's just picking up outside as well. Right, so I contacted you yesterday, so I didn't give you too much notice. Obviously, people, if they're watching your one, whether your one's the first one or the second one, or after that, might be a few more into it by then. Basically, I want ex-professionals or current professionals to just go through their 1 to 11 of teammates. So they're just picking their best 11, basically. Just an idea to get people to be watching in, just finding out what players think of other players. You sent it over to me yesterday. Your one's a good one, to be fair, because there's a few names I reckon a few people might not actually know. So you'll be able to explain about a little bit about them a bit more better. Yeah, so basically, mate, fire away. Who do we have in goal?
Mick Devine's in goal. So Mick, when I went to Ireland, Mick was the keeper at Cork. Just like proper character. He's like just, you know, like people say goalkeepers are mad. He was definitely the maddest I'd ever met, but it was quality as well. Like, make saves. When we got into Europe and that, some of the games we played in, he kept us in. He was quality. He was really good.
And what was he? Obviously, Irish lad himself. And did he come over to England at all?
He started off at Middlesbrough. Through the academy there and stuff, and then he went back to Ireland. He ended up at Waterford, then at Cork. But it was mad because I remember my first game. I was standing, and one of the boys goes, "Oh, keeper doesn't say a word," and I'm like, all I could hear is someone going in the background, like whistling. I'm like, who's that? Look, turn around. I was like to one of the boys, who keeps whistling? I went, oh, that's Mick. Mick doesn't shout. He whistles at you to try and get your attention. So he'd have his big bum goalkeeper gloves in his mouth, like whistling at you during the game. You're like going, it's just been funny, man.
But ability, obviously, good goalkeeper, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah, he was quality. Like quality. He was about 58 when I got there, and he played for another 10 years then, and he was still good.
Okay, and you had a couple of spells at Cork. Was that your first time there then, yeah?
Yeah, so Mick was there my first time there, and then he retired when I came back. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, like the year we won the league, I think we had like the most amount of clean sheets. We won nearly every game 1-0, but the amount of times he saved us in terms of like being in a game and you're under a bit of pressure and he just put a save out of nowhere. You'd be like, going, like he'd smoke about 40 fags a day. And then he'd just dive around the goal and you'd be like, going, how's he able to do that? But
yeah,
no,
of course. So that was an easy decision for you then?
Yeah, easy decision. Definitely, like, played with a couple of decent keepers. B was definitely the best I've played with.
Perfect. Right, so he's in. He's done and dusted. He's in your team. So you've gone for back four, right?
Yeah, back four. Definitely a back four.
Old fashioned, then.
I'm going to put it in the channels.
Go on then. Start us off. Start off with your full-backs. I know right back will go. Right back.
All right, we'll go with Terrell Forbes in, right back. Forbes, he was quality. Just, I'd say, like, he was more of a modern-day fullback. But, like, back then, he just had great pace, brilliant on the ball, technically different gear. But I suppose the league he was in and where he was at, he wasn't really able to get forward in. But I think if it was more nowadays in terms of the way fullbacks are supposed to play now, he would have fitted straight in. Like he was, I think,
appreciated now than when he back then.
Yeah, I mean, I remember times he'd be getting forward and you hear the manager on the side and get back, don't be getting forward, like get back, and you'd be like it's causing problems getting forward, leave him do it. But yeah, no, I think for me, like he was a little bit more. He was like a bit before his years in terms of his ability on the ball, and technically as a fullback, he had decent ability on the ball as well, like quite skillful. And he was just a good lad, like defended, worked hard, and just good attitude and worked hard all the time.
Cool. And so, did you play on the other side to him then when you played for QPR? Did you play with him in the same team?
Yeah. So Forbesy, obviously, I knew Forbesy from when he's a New Cross lad, so I knew him like growing up a little bit, and I I knew him from when he was at West Ham and that. We're coming through the academy and stuff there, and then he came to QPR, and I'm not sure if he came on loan and then we signed him or that we actually just signed him. But I remember him coming in, and me and him became mates straight away. We drove in together, spent a lot of time together, and I played on one side, he played on the other, and it was like my first year, and so we became good mates, really.
Yeah. Right, and so moving on to that, because I have you down as a bit of a modest character, but you put yourself in this team, yeah?
I had no any other things.
Well, you probably kept them all out of the team. That's probably why. So yeah, you're in there. You're in there on the other flank to him, then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I'll just be the one who sits there and kicks it far away. He can get up and down, and I'll stay in. We'd end up playing with a three.
Cool. Well, I'm obviously won't talk too much about your own career because I know you're a modest guy. But in terms of for you breaking into the team at QPR as a young lad, like who did you sort of have to dislodge, if you like? Then who was in front of you sort of before you got in the team?
Yeah, so it was weird because I was playing in the reserves, and we played Watford in a reserve game, and I played quite well, and Holloway had just taken over as manager at the time, and I think Ray Wilkins had said to him, you need to send him out on loan. So I ended up going on loan to Hampton and Richmond. I had a decent spell there. I wasn't expecting to get in the first team at all when I come back. So I went there for 3 months, and I came back, and the club was in going into administration at the time and was having a difficult time. And he turned around and I came back in, and I think I got back on the Tuesday, and he was like, you're playing this weekend. I was like, oh, okay. So the two lads who were there were Krista Warren and Steve Bruce were I think they were earning decent money. So at the time it was well, we can get him. He's going to play, not cost us any money, or we're playing them two, and they're going to cost us every time they play. So literally, it was a little bit of luck as well that I got in.
Right. And do you think that helps you though, making your debut and stuff like that? Then probably didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, didn't have time to literally think about it too much. I think I played Chesterfield away was my first game, and literally travelled up on the Friday morning. So I literally only had a couple of days. I was still a little bit shocked. I'm going to be playing starting. I didn't overly think about it. But I don't think I was one who was massively nervous anyway. But in terms of the anxiety of waiting to play the game, I think that was more of a thing for me. Is literally just wanting to get out there and play.
Yeah, of course. Right, well, yes, we'll move on. You're in anyway. It's your team. You get to decide whether you're playing or not. You're two centre-halves in between you two guys, and who have you gone for?
So I've gone for Big Danny Shittu and Dan Murray, who was captain at Cork City when I was there, when we won everything.
Right, we'll start off with him then. Obviously, probably our viewers, the English ones, probably won't know too much about him. Obviously, if any of the Cork City fans tune in, then I'm sure they will do. Tell us a bit more about him.
Yeah, so I think for me, Dan was the proper captain, proper, just led by example in terms of always played well, always, wasn't fast at all, but you never see him in a race with anyone. He'd never be in a race or be outdone in a race. He was always a step ahead of someone. Very good in the air, never on the ground having to tackle. It was always read the game so well. And I think for him, he probably had to do that in terms of, because he lacked a lot. He wasn't quick at all. That pace killed him. But in terms of footballing, as a footballer, he was quality. Literally, had unbelievable feet. And he was I'd say he's got this 6'1", 6'2", and had great feet, good on the ball. I'd never played with a defender like that until I went to Ireland. I'd always played with the likes of a Danny Shittu,
more old-fashioned.
Palmers, more old-fashioned, so aggressive, didn't really want to play, didn't want to get the ball off the goalkeeper. And I remember playing with him, and he's got forward closing him down. He's saying to the goalkeeper, I don't care, just give me the ball. Just give it to me. If I mess up, it's my fault. Don't not give it to me. And it was
so a little bit like
Forbes,
a little bit like Forbes in terms of head of his years then, yeah?
Yeah, and I think if Dan was at a bit of pace, he would have played at a much higher level than he did. But in terms of what he did at Cork as a captain, as a leader, he won everything. Literally, it was great to play with. Played on the left, even though he was right-footed, because he liked playing on the left of it, because he could use his left foot. And it was he could he was just a good player. Never missed training. Turned up at every game. Was never terrible, but he could be exceptional. And he scored some important goals. Like in terms of the year we won the league, so saying we won a lot of games 1-0, and he come up with headers out of nowhere. And you're like, he scored from there. Like an header from the edge of the box. You're like, going, it's impossible to score from there. But no, he was proper captain, proper centre half.
Nice. And so alongside him, you have got Big Danny Shitter, as you call him. Now, I only know Danny probably just literally say hello to. So, obviously, in terms of what Harry looked on the pitch, was he different off the pitch? What was his character like off the pitch?
No, Dan's a good lad. He's like a gentle giant, isn't he? You know, like you meet him off the pitch, nicest person ever. He just like bubbly, good character, nice person. He was my first roommate when my first away trip and overnight stay. Me and him in a room together, and Dan's like triple the size of me, isn't he? So I'm like thinking, oh, God, I'm in a room with him. Something could happen here. I can't even fight him off.
I bet he got what bed he wanted in the hotel room anyway.
I slept on the floor. No, he pushed both together, and I just slept on the floor. No, Dan was a good lad. Just, you know, as you say, gentle giant. Like literally, technically, probably wasn't the best in terms of like as a footballer, but in terms of like speed, power, aggression, like he was a typical centre half. You know, like he could play, but like he'd rather not play.
So
cool. He was quite happy to just defend. He was a unit. He was so big as well. Like he was a big boy.
Yeah. So obviously you're looking at it there as well. They complement each other well. Is that what you're saying there with your two centre halves?
Yeah. Me, the two of them, they complement each other well. So that's why I went with the two of them.
Solid back four, yeah. So in terms of your team, then you obviously put yourself in there, but you've gone for like, because you know it's pretty difficult, I would imagine, sitting down, having played as many games you've had done, to pick an 11. Have you gone for like, you know, the best players in terms of actually their attributes, and in terms of, you know, you've not gone for necessarily the careers they've had. You've actually gone to try and pick it on a team format.
Yeah, I've more or less gone for it that way in terms of you know, players who I thought that, you know, it'd be a decent team if you really put it all together. And you know, that's why for me, I thought it was enjoyable doing it, because like going, you know what, back four's not bad, and then keeper's decent. Midfield's got a bit of experience plus like a bit of flair in that about it as well.
Yeah, so you've gone into it with your coaching head on, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Oh, right, okay then. So we'll move on to your midfield. Started. Where are we starting?
Well, I suppose we start with the two wide players. I had Ben Cook and Jerome Thomas. Is that right?
Jerome Thomas and Lee Cook. Yeah.
Lee Cook. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the two of them, like, they could play either side. Like, I remember Jerome when he came to QPR on loan, it was just one of them, just give him the ball. Just don't even try and give it to him. Just give him the ball. He just could create things. And then Cookie came, and literally he came from Watford on loan, and I didn't know nothing about him. But like when he come, he was decent, like proper winger. Like literally just wanted to dribble at people, take them on and beat them, get crosses in the box, scored a few decent goals.
I actually got introduced to Cookie through Birch, obviously another our old mate.
Yeah,
and obviously a great lad in that. And I remember actually watching him like growing up. Obviously, he's obviously a lot older than me, which he won't thank me for.
Yeah.
I remember watching him and thinking, wow, what a good player he was. And then I actually played against him, like when he got older, and he was still such a great player then. Like his left foot was an absolute go.
Yeah, no, he was quality. Like in terms of what he could do with a ball, like was decent. Like because I didn't really have. It's hard because like I probably played with a few players who would have gone like, do you know what?
Has your video gone on?
It just cut out there. 1 second. Is it still? Is it coming back on?
I think if you just click a button, it'll come up. It'll just edit this out anyway.
There you go. What the flipping happened there? My reception, maybe. Is it back on now?
It'll go through that anyway and work it out for us anyway. Going back to Lee Cook. So I actually played with him. I played against him. Sorry, when he was older, and he was still a joke then. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, he could it was weird. Like he could cross it, and he didn't have to beat you. Like he didn't have to beat someone to get a cross in. He could and he would cross at awkward angles. You know, you're there going you're nearly facing the wrong way. How are you able to get a cross in there?
Cool.
He was good to play, but Jerome was probably in terms of he was your flair player. Literally, you just let him do what you want. Because if you
Did
tried,
he come on loan from Arsenal? Did he? Yeah.
he come on loan from Arsenal.
How old would he have been then, roughly, Joe?
He would have been 21, 22, maybe between 20 and 22. Yeah, he was still young, but I remember playing against him in the youth days. You'd be hate playing against him because he was decent. He could dribble inside, outside. You know, could cross it. He had a few tricks. He had a bit of a bite about him as well, where he could play nasty. He didn't just, if he didn't like you, he was just going to terrorise you for the rest of the whole day.
Yeah, both sides of the game, yeah.
Yeah, and he could play left or right, and it was with the two of them, I was there going, either of them could have played on either side, and it caused teams so many problems.
Yeah, so you can switch them over then if they're even the grilling of the fullbacks out then, yeah?
Oh, exactly. Just let them do what they want.
Quality, mate. Right, and then we go on to centre midfielder. Who's your centre midfielders?
I've got Joe Gamble.
Yeah.
And Gavin Peacock.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll start off with Joe Gamble then, because he's a name that I'm not too familiar with, to be honest.
Yeah. So Joe started off at Cork and then was signed by Reading at a young age.
Okay.
He was one of the youngest players to come through Cork's first team a very long time ago, and he went off to Reading. But I knew Joe from international days, from we were kids and stuff, playing against under 16s up to under 18s. We'd played with each other, and Joe went to Reading, broke into the first team, done quite well, but then he either fractured or broke his patella.
Okay. And
literally done him couldn't get back, struggled to get back, and wasn't really playing. Then he came back to Cork, and Joe was he was like my height, but he just ate the weights constantly in the gym.
5'4", yeah.
5'9", yeah, 5'9". But he was a tank. If you see, he was just all muscle, literally. He was built like James Milner.
So he was from Cork then, yeah?
He was from Cork, yeah. So he came back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, came back playing, get back playing again, really, because obviously with his injury and that, he struggled a bit to get back in the team. And I think for him was a bit of a case of, I just need a fresh start, I want to go home. And, he knew that we were doing decent as a team. Literally, he came in and he was quality, literally just defensively, as a defensive midfielder, it was blinding for a fullback, because you'd get forward and he'd be there covering you. Literally, you didn't even have to think about it. You were gone. He was there. You lost possession as a team. He was always sweeping everything up. And that year we won the league, he was quality. It was just a proper pro. In terms of very dedicated. Loved the gym.
Yeah.
He was grumpy as anything. Moaned about everything, but we used to call him Screwface, because all he ever did is moan. His face always be screwed up, moaning about everything.
But he was a good player.
Quality.
Okay, so alongside him, you said you got Gavin Peacock.
Yeah, so Gav I played with when I first got into QPR's first team, and it was Gav's back to QPR from when he had been at Chelsea, and I think Newcastle, and he was just come back. So for me, the things I used to drive in with Gav. He used to live in Bexley, so we used to travel in together and take it in turns driving. And then Gav was just model pro, in terms of advice he'd give you and things he'd talk to you about. It was you couldn't get that off anyone else. There was no one. I didn't know anyone who'd been through that and played the amount of games he had and been to the clubs he's been at, and to be able to give you that advice was wow, this is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm getting.
Yeah, cool. Because even when you see him on the telly, he comes across as quite a serious character. Quite stern fellow,
Yeah, so Gav's not doing the TV anymore, because he's in the priesthood. He's now a priest.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on Twitter.
Way.
You can see Twitter. He's actually a priest now. So he was very much into that anyway. When he was playing, he was very religious and never pushed it on people, but he'd talk about it a lot.
Quite open about it.
No, for me, it was like, yeah, for me, I suppose he played with Gav at the end of his career, but he still had that like attacking, like he'd pick up spaces and probably didn't have the legs that he had, but like he'd get in unbelievable areas like to score goals and stuff like that. And he used to be like, how's he doing that? He was like a number 10, but like played in centre midfield. Wouldn't be one to get it off the back four and play, but I was like thinking, well, I was thinking about, I've got Joe to do that. Gav can go and do what he wants because Joe can run around everywhere. He was like a little energizer bunny.
Yeah,
so it was like, that's why I was kind of looking at it that way, because Gav could score goals. Is that extra player as a forward, really, when you had the ball in terms of where he looked and got space?
Yeah, because I was going to say, whenever I used to watch, watching premiers as well, which I've been probably watching a little bit too much of lately now with all this isolation business. But whenever you was watching that, like it'd pop up on there with goals. Like you'd almost mistaken for a centre forward the amount of times he popped up with goals, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he was one of them. He was never a centre midfielder who was going to be dogged and work his run around and make loads of tackles. He was really needed someone in there with him who was going to do that side. So that's why Birchie used to do that for a bit, and then we had Marcus Bignett as well, who was at QPR at the time, and the two of them used to really do the dogged work. And Gav kind of was one of them who could get into the spaces, create chances, or even score chances himself. So he was decent for that.
Right, so you're well balanced in the midfield as well there, and yeah, you really have thought about this. Love it. You have been bored, haven't you? You have been bored.
I've probably been bored, yeah.
Well, okay then, front two.
So I've gone with Kev Gallen and I've gone with Kevin Doyle. I was going to pick Shane Long, but the reason I didn't pick Shane Long was because he didn't really play many games for us. He only played a couple of games. He trained with us all year.
He came through at Cork as a young lad. Never got moved.
Shane was at Cork City with me.
Okay.
And him and Kevin, so Kev was the forward and Shane was kind of a reserve player trying to break into the first team. You could all see he had something about him, but he just didn't manage to break in at the time. And then literally Reading came in for Doyle, and I think they had the same agent, and the agent was like, look, you need to look at this kid as well. So Shane without even
together,
yeah, so literally took the both of them. He took Kev and they took Shane at the same time. So it was like,
all right.
Yeah, so Shane without
how good was Doyle back then, Dan? Because for me, I've got to be honest. When at one stage in the Premier League, did he get promoted with Reading? It was Reading. Yeah, and then he went to Wolves and done really well at Wolves. For me, I thought at one stage, just watching on as a fan at that stage. Obviously, I was playing myself, but not to that level. I was watching games, and I used to think that he was probably maybe even a little bit unlucky not to have got a move to a top club. I used to love watching him. He'd get a goal, he'd work his socks off. Did you know then? Obviously he was only young before he left Cork to go to Reading. Did you know then that he would go on to have such a career that he did?
Yeah, I don't think you expected it to go as well as it did. But I remember just when we were playing in Europe and stuff he was just a pest. You hated playing against him in training because he was the same kid in a game. Literally non-stop run. And he was physically very strong. So Kev came from a Gaelic football and hurling background. So physically, he had big chunky legs and literally was just strong. Yeah. But he you just knew in a game if he was under pressure as a fullback and you were getting closed down. If I put it in the channel, he was gonna. If he didn't get on it, it'd make your bad ball look like a good ball.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be an easy one for him.
Nah, and I think everyone knew that playing against him. He was had an unbelievable leap, in terms of in the air. He isn't the biggest, he's only, I'd say he's 5'10" maybe.
Yeah, cool.
But he's not the biggest in terms of when you see the amount of headed goals he's scored. His timing in terms of just get the ball in the box, you need to find it. It's be able to get his head on it or. Yeah. It'd make it difficult and get sank out stuff, and I think for me,
that's why I mentioned it because, for me, I think at the time when he had that little spell in the Premier League, with Wolves, and obviously before with Reading, I just felt he was scoring goals in a weaker side, if you like. I just thought, had he gone on to a bigger club, listen, you could say that probably about quite a lot of forwards coming who have done well with smaller clubs. You know what I mean? Don't necessarily get their chance at the big clubs. I just thought, someone like Long, he went on to Southampton, so I thought he might have gone up onto a better side. That's all.
Yeah, I think Long had a bit more pace about him in terms of like.
Yeah, I remember playing against him when he was younger. He was rapido.
So raw, like he could catch a pigeon in his mouth. He's that quick.
Yeah.
It was like he was like so raw in terms of his ability on the ball. But like Doyle could play a little bit. You could stick Doyle on the wing as well. Like he had a bit about him. But I think for Doyle, what probably was hard. That if you went to a big club, there was more emphasis on him having to be more involved in the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, he'd have to build up the game more, and I don't think that was a big strength of these. Whereas I think like the club he played for, they were quite direct at the time. Like obviously Wolves ain't like that now, but Reading were a little bit direct at the time, and I think they had Chadwick on one side, and I think they had some. I can't remember who the other winner was, but like they were very direct and got balls in the box, and that suited his game. I think if you played him and played through the middle, wasn't always going to suit him.
No. But no, listen, I mean, someone like say starting off at Cork City, like one hell of a career that he had, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah, he was. No wonder he had to retire through concussions. The amount of times he had the biggest head ever, the mallet head. But he's a good lad. I still get on with Doyle occasionally. You know, if I ever on Twitter and stuff, a little bit of banter and that.
Cool.
But
yeah, so I remember I actually got his shirt once when I played against him when he was at Wolves, and then I ended up playing against him out in America. So like, I had a little bit of a laugh with him about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't remember me. I remembered him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So listen, move with the theme of your team. Then you're going for like, you want it nice and balanced. You mentioned about your other centre forward, Kevin Gallen. I obviously heard a lot about it myself through Mark Bircham when I was with him out in the States and stuff. What was he like as a player?
Blinding, like literally proper character. Love QPR. Like it was his club, but like for me, he was great to be around. Like good laugh. Like his finishing was unbelievable. Like literally, give him half a chance and it was in. Like
really,
but yeah, it's just like he was probably in terms of a striker, like proper striker. He was probably best. He could hold it up. He'd bully you, like in terms of just pin you. Like you couldn't get around him. He'd pin you, he'd roll you. He just done the like what I liked, like the old-fashioned striker. Just get it, pin you, lay it off, get in the box, get a yard, get a shot away. No, he was always in and around anything that went on, and he was just. And I think what he'd done over his career in terms of as a player, like I always liked Kevin. You know, he was just a good player to play with. Sorry.
Cool. So he makes it into your team. So right, that's your team done and dusted, then, Dan. What do you reckon in terms of like levels? What do you reckon they could have had a little championship run at the playoffs? Yeah.
Guys, I definitely think we'd have a chance. Definitely think. Got goals all up.
So listen, you was captain quite often in your career, especially over in Ireland. Who would be your captain in that team?
God, that's hard. I'd have to go with Dan Murray.
Yeah.
Just because, just the way he was, like build up from the back, could play, just proper captain. Like any issues ever went on, it was like, Mars, go and sort it out. All right, no worries. Go in and get it all done. And whereas I don't think other people, I don't remember many players that I played with where you'd be like to the captain, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And like, I'll chat about it. He'd just go and knock on a door and be like, what's going on? He was like, just like decent, proper fella as well.
So you basically just hired him out because when you want a night out, just to go and ask the manager.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the manager anyway. There'll be nights out all over the place, isn't there?
No, don't. Yeah, well, I'm player manager in that team.
Yeah, true. Right, then, well, that's perfect, mate. That's your team all done. That's it. Just a few questions to finish off. I know, obviously, everyone is at home. QPR fans, Cork fans, everyone's bored like yourself. So I was just going to finish off with a few questions, really. Just wanted to know, even for myself, from my point of view as well, a friend of yours, I just want to know, how did the move to Ireland come about? Obviously, you was at QPR, and then I think you went straight over there from QPR, was it?
Well, so no, I left QPR and I was meant to sign for Swindon. It kind of fell through, and then I started playing at Margate, and I think we played Exeter, and the manager who was Cork manager at the time, Pat Dolan, his brother was the Exeter manager, Joe Dolan, and my dad had like sent him an email I didn't even know about, and was like, oh, my son, Danny, blah, 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 whatever. And then Dolan got back. We played Exeter on a Saturday, and Pat Dolan emailed my dad, the Cork City manager, that Saturday, the Sunday, be like, oh, you know, would Danny be interested in coming over for a trial? So literally, I think the next week, I booked my flight. I was going over there the next week. I played for Margate on a Saturday, flew out on a Saturday afternoon, played for Cork on the Sunday against Kilkenny, and they offered me a contract there, and then I never went back.
That was it.
Yeah. Just know when you go somewhere, and I think you can probably know just as much as me, is like, sometimes you go to a club and it don't feel right.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, you go to a club and it's like, I can see myself spending a lot of time here. Like, just the first impressions and the feel and the way it was, like, Cork was like the best club I'd ever played for. It was unbelievable, like, playing there.
Yeah, no, of course. I suppose as well, like, you know, it's not easy to find as a footballer, is it? So, like, once you do find a place that, you really enjoy and feels like home, you might as well stay there. And yeah, like I say, you had 3 different spells there. So
yeah, so I had a couple of spells. It was one of them, like, they'd always welcome me back because I never left on bad terms, and it was never a reason that I left because I didn't like what was going on.
Yeah.
2 times I left one was, you know, an opportunity to go and play in Scotland, which it was like going to play in the Scottish Premier League, and I couldn't turn that opportunity down, even though I didn't last very long there and I came back very quickly. And the other one was financial. When the club went into financial difficulty, I had to move on.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And in terms of, so I'm talking about all the players that you've played with, you know, it might be, you know, someone from your early days at QPR playing in the Championship, or it might be someone from Ireland, or it might be someone from when you went over to Motherwell to play in the Scottish Premier League. Who would you say were the sort of toughest opponents you come up against? You know, whether it be a winger if we say, like, maybe pick a winger who's up against you, or, you know, just someone who stood out, whether it be a centre half, centre midfield, or a centre forward.
Probably someone who I played against, who I loved playing against him, but it was always difficult, was Paddy McCall.
Yeah.
He was at Derry, and he went to Celtic, and he was like, people used to compare him like to a modern day George Best, like, but he was unbelievable. Like, literally, I enjoyed playing against him because the two of us got on and, like, we'd kick the crap out of each other on the pitch, but then afterwards you laugh and have a bit of banter, and it was good. But yeah, but with Paddy, more than 1 pint as well. It's like 5 or 6.
I know, I've heard.
Yeah. But in terms of probably the hardest player I played against was when I played against Nakamura at Celtic.
Oh yeah, he was a joke.
He was
set pieces as well. Because he will always remember. I'll always just remember him for his set pieces. But was he like a player as well? Yeah.
Well, he could cross it both feet. So, like, you'd get tight and show him down the line.
We're a rare breed, Dan. We're a rare breed, Dan.
I know.
Yeah. But he could.
You show him inside and he'd cross it on the outside. You show him outside, he'd cross it inside. So it was like, just stay as tight as you could. Don't even let him turn. Just like try and make him play towards his own goal the whole time. But then that's difficult to do when you're playing and you got, like, the other players that Celtic had, because they had McGeady on one side, and he just, like, as a player, he floats all over the place.
Yeah, cool.
So, like, you go and get tight to him, he'll start running in that gap in behind you, and it was like, you know, trying to play it, like, trying to figure out. What I enjoyed more was the challenge of figuring out how I can stop him.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of, like, trying to figure that out, and he was good, like, very good. Like, technically, his touch was so tight.
Yeah, cool. And so, who were the top dogs when you was up there? Then was it Celtic or Rangers at the time?
Celtic were top.
Celtic,
yeah. That was when they had, like, Van Hesselin was up front, Neil Lennon, Caldwell centre half. They had the lad. He played at Bolton for a few years. Was right back. Arthur Borich was in goal.
Yeah.
Strachan was manager at the time. It was like the team was just quality.
Yeah, top team. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good. Like, Lennon didn't move out the centre circle, but no one ever got near him.
Yeah.
Like, little 2-3 yard movements to find space and just lay it off, find another space. Just quality, like, in terms of, like, you'd watch him, I'm telling you, like, going, lazy git doesn't run anywhere. But then when you play against him, like, going, how comes I won't get the ball off him?
Yeah,
So I
cool.
only,
And what was that like playing at Celtic Park then, mate? Like in terms of, because I know you must have, when you was at QPR, you must have played at some, real good championship grounds as well. But in terms of, was that a good atmosphere playing at Celtic Park?
yeah, I don't think you'll ever play, like for me, I've never played, I had a couple of decent like places I played at in Europe and stuff like that. But in terms of playing, like atmosphere was unbelievable. Like literally, you come out of that tunnel, warm up, and it's not that busy. Do the warm up, go back in. You come out, and like, as you're walking down the tunnel, it's like quiet. But as you're coming down, it's just like memorabilia of everything they've won on the way down the tunnel.
Yeah, so
And like, I'm
history,
looking
like,
at it,
yeah.
like, yeah, so I'm like Celtic fan, so I'm looking at it going, oh yeah, I remember that. I watched that. Like, and you're looking at it, and then as you get further and further out, it just gets noisier and noisier, and all you can see is green and white everywhere. Like
Yeah,
literally, it's just everyone wears green and white, and it's like, how many players they got? Like it just, I don't. It's hard to describe. Like I mean, I play. Lucky enough, as I've told you before, like I played in like in Italy and played against Juventus in the Champions League, and I mean, they're just mental. Like in terms
yeah.
of their fans, like, but Celtic Park were just non-stop for the whole game, and just the atmosphere and playing at a place that I used to watch on TV and you always wanted to play at was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. So, listen, memories people can't take away from you, innit? So you
Mm.
mentioned it. I meant to ask about that then. So, in terms, well, you played at, what was the best stadium you played at abroad then?
Um, we played in some quite. We played at NEC Nijmegen in Holland. Their stadium was really nice. It was a small
Okay.
little stadium, but
Yeah.
like it was off the floor. So
Right.
like pitch was like at stadium level, but you had to go up to get to the pitch. So it was
Yeah.
like quite unique, quite a nice little stadium. I mean, Italy was nice, very old fashioned.
Yeah.
Do you know what we played? We played. Was it Sparta Prague?
Well,
That,
Prague, yeah.
yeah, that was massive. Like had a running. Do you know the European stadiums where you see them and they've got the running track around them? You're just like, this is massive. But no, that was, yeah, it was decent stadium. I still think the Celtic Park was probably the best one.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Well, you've answered the question I ain't even asked there, so that's good stuff. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy that. Just for our listeners, the people who tune in once it's up on YouTube, whether it be the Cork City fans, QPR fans, whoever it may be. Obviously, I know what you're up to now because I do a little bit
Yeah.
of work with you myself. But just if you wanted to explain a little bit about what you're up to, because I know you've just moved back to London from the States. You want to just let the listeners know a little plug basically for Welling, if you like.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's obvious, like come September, I'll be in with the scholars and doing stuff with Welling, with the scholars and stuff in our scholarship program. And then I've taken over as the academy manager of the Girls Academy for Welling. So trying to grow the girls program and get more girls playing and like really make Welling, the success we've had on the boys' side is trying to replicate that and bring it onto the girls' side and literally start developing teams like we have on the boys' side where we're competing at the best levels in youth football in terms of the grassroots level to potentially hoping to then develop that into having a girls' scholarship program and potentially a girls' women's team as well. So there's a lot going on. Obviously, the way things have turned out, the way the coronavirus has gone, it's kind of put us back a little bit. But we're still growing it, and literally we're starting from scratch again once we come out of this. So we started off with around 12 to 13 kids. We now have around 26 girls already, which we're then going to carry into next season. Plus we've got the trials and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on. But yeah, so I'm doing a lot with that. And then I do the technical program with Rondos Academy, which is with Gaz and which is a technical program working on the game effective use of skills in isolation. So really trying to do a little bit of everything really. I think I've missed when I was away just coaching teams all the time, that you go away from that technical side and the detail of what you're teaching kids when they're at a younger age. So I've enjoyed going back into that now, and the small details of the technique and the technical things you're trying to do, instead of it just being team, and you're working on shape and you're working on how you want to play, and it makes you have to think about the whole thing a little bit more when you go back into that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like give you more of a chance to like get your hands dirty, if you like, more of on a personal level, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's definitely it. I mean, I like the technical side of it. Very difficult to do, and I think, as you know, when you're planning a team, it's difficult to do technical work because, and I think that it needs to be done. It's hard to do it because you're really thinking about results, and when you're playing at a level where results count and results matter. So you're really building towards the next game or trying to improve on things that didn't go well the week before. So you end up losing that little bit of technical stuff that you do in training because you
Yeah,
make
like
things a lot
tunnel vision, isn't it?
more.
Really towards Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's difficult, and it's like unless I think the levels that we're at and where we're coaching, it's not like you can go right. Well, you're going to spend 20 minutes with a technical coach, or you can afford to pay, and he's going to do that, and then they're going to come with me and they're going to do all the football side because realistically, you probably get your teams for what 2 days a week and a max of an hour and 30 minutes, and like it's only 3 hours a week really you're getting to spend with them, and you know you got to hope that they can start to do that technical side and stuff themselves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, without you obviously checking on them all the time.
Yeah, and that's why I like trying to get more kids into the technical program at Rondos so that they're doing that.
Yeah.
And then when they're coming to training, we haven't got to focus so much on that. We can focus on other areas of the game that they need to improve on.
No, listen, Dan, that's perfect, mate. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Listen, hopefully it don't go on for too long, this coronavirus, the isolation part of it, I should say. Otherwise, I'll have to ring.
My
I'll have
beard,
to,
big white beard by the time this virus.
like Uncle Albert.
Anyway,
Otherwise, I'll have to call you up again, and we'll have to have a change of topic. But I'm sure Gary Fjord will be pleased at the end there. Nice little plug for him at Rondos and the Welling Academy and the girls there as well. But yeah, listen, Dan, thanks very much, mate.
no,
Top stuff,
mate.
and look out for it. Hopefully, we'll get up on YouTube and. Yeah, you might get some stick from the Cork and the QPR fans.
And to get some stick from some of the boys who had played with who I didn't mention.
Top man, Dan. Take care.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Bye bye. Bye.